Yes, you're going to have people turn their backs, but it's time for us to keep it real. Just keep talking that real, bro. Do what you do. I know what you do, so keep doing that. Talk the real.
The HBI lads will see you now. See you now. See you now.
I don't want to cause no problems. I just want to live my life, but I keep on hearing about nonsense.
And we're back. HBI podcast, health, business, and in between. My name is Dr. Nathan Bridger. I am a chiropractor and strength and conditioning coach working out of North Fremantle Chiropractic in Perth, Western Australia. And of course, I am joined by the dangerous threesome. That's something that most of us have never experienced. Starting in the top corner. None of the boys know which corner they're in, so it's always been fun here. They're always like, everyone's on the spot. It's like school. It's like, who's he pointing at, right? But
nervous.
The man, the myth, the wizard, physiotherapist Ben Humphries. How are we, mate?
Hey, the winner. I made
winner chicken dinner. It's been a long wait. I'm always looking for a rhyming thing for you, but I just don't have it. And again, also joined today, the man, the myth, the shiny head assassin, Mina Garris, my therapist. How is life at home?
It's boring. I hate it. But hopefully, 1 week down, 5 to go. Let's do it.
Mate, he's on the stretch. You're going to get through. You just got to start working some sweet gym at home, right? And speaking of gym, look at that as a segue. For all those watching on video, you'll see what's happening. The fourth member of the team, osteopath Daniel Kirkbride, or Dr. Dan Kirkbride. How are we, mate? All the way from sunny is the word I'm looking for.
Shiny, you're going to mean his head.
Reflection's killing me, man. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, good, mate. Not too bad. Bit of sunshine in Adelaide.
Well, it's got to be somewhere. We're for a change. We're raining. Can't have everything over in WA, right? But this week we are. Well, we're trying. We're trying to get that grand final, but apparently Queensland's the one. Apparently Queensland. Someone's slipping a few Benjamin to someone's back pocket to get it up to Queensland. But today, speaking of money, we're talking about going online. So we saw a bit of this in the first round of COVID and COVID lockdown. And obviously for our Victorian gentlemen, it is round 2 lockdown. And, you know, as something that maybe who knows where this stuff's going to go, right? We really are in limbo with where things are at. There's every chance that all of us could end up back in lockdown again. So being able to take your service online and create, whether it's, you know, treatment online, telehealth, whether it's mentoring, whatever it is somewhere where all of us are having to look. And of our members, Dr. Dan Kirkbride has absolutely crushed this in the first round and is cranking along. And so, yet again, Johnny on the spot, we want to have a discussion today about really taking what has traditionally been seen, I guess, as a very much in-person services and putting it online. So, Dan, do you want to, I think you've spoken about this before, but we better rehash it. Do you want to just give our listeners a quick rundown of what you did?
Yeah, so, I mean, COVID, like the first time around, obviously, the clinic didn't have to close, but it was pretty much like the capacity of volume of clients I was getting was severely reduced. So I've been running a bit of a hybrid model probably the last 12 months since I started because I was doing PT, so a bit of face-to-face treatment / training, and then the rest of the programming and kind of education stuff was online. So I feel like I was kind of indirectly already doing it, but then COVID just gave me the kick up the arse I needed to actually put it into a proper structure and then launch it. So launched the mentorship, which was more directed at personal trainers and allied health professionals, teaching them about rehab, program design, biomechanics. And then a pretty similar thing that's only recently happened the last few weeks, which has been essentially is taking that same structure of what I've done for coaches, but now for my actual client base in terms of being able to still service them. It's not exactly telehealth. We'll go into the structure of it, but because, obviously being Melbourne based and now in Adelaide, it's like, I still need to service them, even though I can work here face-to-face. There's a bunch of people back there. So it works pretty well. But still lots of tweaking.
Absolutely.
Cool,
so, I mean, I guess for everyone, what was the first step to getting things going? Like if someone's sitting at home now in Victoria, you know, they are chiro, osteo, myo, physio, whatever it is, and they're thinking, well, listen, I can't work, but I still want to be able to help people. What was the first step to really getting things rolling? Like what pushed you? Because obviously there had to be enough pain to actually get it done, right? So what was the first step that said, all right, this is happening?
The dollars.
Yeah, look,
It's so
being,
painful.
being completely open, I had 3 seminars that were planned in Melbourne, Adelaide, and Sydney, which were all sold out, all paid through Eventbrite. And when you use Eventbrite, the money gets kind of like stuck in Eventbrite and you can't use it. You guys have probably used it before. So there's about 15, 16 grand of tickets that were sitting there that I didn't have access to. And then lockdown happened, so couldn't deliver the seminars, and messages left, right, and center about, can I have a refund? And then my clinic essentially closed. So I was like, okay, I'm essentially just created a $16,000 debt for myself and have reduced my income to 20%. So yeah, it was a good that was a good kick up the ass. I had the idea that I was going to build out this mentorship to launch in 2021. Was like going to be seminars first, rinse and repeat, and then kind of build it out. So I only had probably a week or 2 of content actually prepared and nothing set up, and I just got on the phone and called all the seminar attendees and kind of gave them a special intro offer and said it's all going to be done online. And then the pressure was on to build the content, because it was like deliver week 1, build week 2, walk up Zoom call and talk while building content. So I think it was a kick up the ass I needed though, because like when you got a timeline and deadline, you get shit done, compared to I've probably been thinking about this for 6 months and just sitting on my hands not doing it. So
well, yeah, nothing like necessity, right? Like one of the cardinal rules I have when I mentor young chiros is, if you're going to present a talk, book everyone into the talk, then write it. Don't write the best talk ever, then try and find people for it, because there's no point in writing it if no one wants it. So I guess there's no difference up top. Well, boys, you two are obviously on lockdown. I know you're both looking, Mina, you're looking more at the mentoring space. Ben, you've been talking about a bit of mentoring, but more continuing education. So you're like literally in the position right now. So for yourselves, you obviously have a start point. What are the hurdles you're currently facing, so we can get Danny to take us through it?
Mina?
For us, it's 2 things. So for me personally, it's just the frustration of the unknown. So not knowing kind of, if we do go back straight away, then what's going to happen with that clientele, right? So allocation of time is a pretty crucial one, just because we're kind of not sure what's happening. But I think for me, over the last 6 months, I've been gathering a fair few practitioners and basically been guiding them and coaching them, but no structure as such. So for me,
informal.
Yeah, correct. So for me, it's just about building the structure. And this is a question I wanted to ask you, Dan, of what you're saying. So for you, you said like you already did it through Eventbrite. So take us a couple of steps before that. So how did you actually even think of even starting a mentorship with yourself? So how did you, what was the triggers for you to even want to do mentorship?
It's been a goal of mine to do that stuff for a few years. Like I've always looked up to some of the people in the industry I learned off, and some of the big names who are presenting, and it's always been a goal of mine to get to that level. So I kind of just fell into the seminars probably a year ago, and there was no real structure, to be honest. It was just someone asked me to come teach. I taught a few seminars for free. People liked it. Then did a few $50 cheap ones, and it was bank transfer, and there was no structure, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I just talk shit and hope people enjoy it. And then, I guess like went to proper structure, Eventbrite, build out proper presentation. And then the idea was in my head, I'll do a few of these seminars and then build it out into a mentorship. And then I just kind of had to do it a lot earlier than I anticipated. So like from that point, the structure's been a lot better. I've got better systems in place and the templates, and it's a lot clearer. But like initially, to be honest, it was just ideas in my head, what I wanted to deliver, and no idea how to get there. And then I just got kicked up the arse and kind of just found my way, sink or swim sort of situation.
And I appreciate the honesty there, because I mean, everyone thinks you get given to you, right? So it's kind of like what you make of it and the direction that you want to take. So it's pretty good that you were clear. But how did you make the distinction between whether you wanted to treat or do mentorship? So where do you think that's heading for you at the moment?
I think like it's a question everyone asks me, and I ask myself a lot. But to be honest, I don't think it has to be an either or. I think it's like I definitely see myself as doing both. I just think it's a case of like you can download 2 things on a computer at once, and you download both of them, but they'll download real slow, and it will take 30 minutes to download 2 versus you can download 1 at a time, download 1 in 10 minutes, and then pick the next one. So I think the way I look at it's the same way. Is like I was always trying to do both since the moment I opened my clinic, and it was like both of them had mediocre results. I mean, they were still good, but like we all have high standards, and by my standards, it was like wasn't where I wanted it to be. Versus now I've kind of just gone, okay, I'm going all in on this. I'll build all this up, still keep this in maintenance mode. I'm still treating, still being an osteo as such. But like my long-term vision is, osteo's pumping and the clinic's pumping, mentorship's pumping, but it's just like realistically from a resource point of view, as a one-man show, I either have to outsource or I have to just be like, here are my resources, and be happy to build one at a time. So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. Didn't work out well, but with COVID, I've kind of been limited with the osteo. So it's been focused on building.
Worked out brilliantly, really.
Yeah, it's a bit of a blessing in disguise, because before that I was just bouncing between like a Dodgem car, kind of going nowhere. Now it's a bit more clear. So yeah, like my idea is, the mentorship pumping, keep doing that, streamline the systems, get that to a point where I'm not putting so much time into it, and then essentially I can put the same amount of time and effort into the program I'm building out now, which is also online for osteo, but there'll still be a face-to-face component. It's just the fact of, well, in these times of uncertainty, there's no point building out a face-to-face structure. Like, it's easy to go online and then add the face-to-face in or include it versus like build the online and take it away from people, because people are always going to be like, oh, well, they still have the perceived value that the crack and the rub is the thing that gives them the outcome, rather than, we know we can do it a million different ways, but they don't know that. So I think the biggest thing when it comes to any of the online stuff is just the education aspect, and not like making the value seem external rather than the in-face session. Otherwise you get stuck in that trap of like, okay, fuck, how do I get out of this now?
100%. I think important, just jumping back, something you said before me, you're talking about obviously wanting to mentor. I think, from my opinion, and this is again my opinion, like if your mentor, there comes a time for a mentor, if they stop treating and just mentor, they're going to be out of the game, because all of what we do is so rapidly evolving, particularly when it comes to like mentors for marketing and stuff like that. They're still telling you to do stuff they were doing in like the 1940s, right? And you're just like, bro, no, like we've moved on. This doesn't work. Like, and if you don't stay, like if you don't have a finger on the pulse, you're out, you're dead, like real quick. So I think like there comes a time for a mentor that if they aren't willing to prove, like if they can't prove that they can do it, they can prove that they did it,
Like,
but they
you
can't
still
prove
got
they
it or
still
what?
do it, then you're just not going to get the buy-in. And not even just the buy-in, you're not going to be able to deliver the service to help people, because you won't actually know. But that's just, that's
Absolutely.
my opinion again.
I think that's a good point. That's the battle I've been in at the moment, is just build it out, get someone to help me, Rulan, to help keep the clinic pumping, but then focus on developing your own mentoring stuff. Now, I think what's important here is to work out, how do you want to know if you want to be a mentor or a teacher, or you want to move your shit online, whatever it may be, regardless of circumstances. And obviously Dan said he had the goal and the ambition to be an educator, because he wanted to do that. So that's where you need to start first. But then you obviously need to create the demand for what you want to do. So whether it's creating a strong personal brand via Instagram or social media, you're getting just people reaching out, asking you questions like, oh, well, people are seeing me as some sort of an influential person in the industry, and students are looking up to me, and people who are working are looking out to me. Maybe I should start to consider how to scale my business a bit better, or pursue that dream of chasing, being a mentor or an educator or a lecturer more so. So as you said, obviously the face-to-face shit crumbled, and then you obviously had to be agile and through your sales skills, and then to say, well, you guys obviously have shown an expression of interest in my courses. Now I can't deliver them face-to-face with you, but I am still running an online, remote learning sort of mentorship. So as back to Mina asking Dan the questions, it's, I think once you've got the demand there, or at least people see you as some sort of educator or influential person, then you just move from there. And I'm more interested in, now we've found out what's happening. Like, are you delivering content through, like, you got obviously a schedule per week? Because one of the clients I treat is actually, he's in your mentorship program. He's a legend. Yeah. Shout out to Raf. And from what he's told me, it looks like just, it's basically like in university. It's like you have your
education portal, man.
Curriculum, and you have your, you explain it.
I just use Teachable. So I was doing like poor man's version on Google Drive initially, which is a great place to start. But yeah, I've launched the whole course, which is on Teachable now. It's only like, I think it's $60 a month or something. It's pretty affordable for someone starting out, which is good, because I think for me, when I first started, it was, looking at a bunch of things, and there's like Punjabi and a bunch of other ones and ClickFunnels, and you're paying, anywhere from, they're pretty expensive if you're just starting out and you're unsure about what you're doing and you don't really have much tech experience. So for Teachable, yeah, it's pretty much just like a uni login. When you're back in school, you have your student login ID. It's got all the modules. You complete the module, it gives you a progress report. You can make quizzes. You can see this, like as a teacher, you can see the student progression, see who's done things, who hasn't. So it's pretty handy, and yeah, it's super easy to use for a tech retard like me, which a lot of coaches and therapists, it's not our number one skill, technology, so that's good. And then from the user point of view, it's super aesthetic and easy to follow. So yeah, really recommend that if anyone's doing any education. I think even for because we're talking about this in terms of allied health and coaching for a mentoring point of view, but even at the one I've been building out the last few weeks and I'm launching soon is going to be more for my clients, like just people who come see me for osteo or PT. It's the same sort of structure, make modules on common topics or common pain points that they need help with. And then I think that structure works really well. Even like if I could work face to face, I still feel like I'd have that there just because you guys would feel the same. Like how many times do you get asked the same question in a week that you give the same answer to? And the first person to ask you, you give them the best answer in the world. And you're
solid
so
answer.
enthusiastic. And then like you get Thursday and the 40th person.
Stop asking.
Like, fuck's sake. Go on to this and do this. So it's like, how do I give the best service? More importantly, not just about me, but like, hey, can I spend an hour explaining this once forever with a really nice slide and a really nice PowerPoint that I don't have to do 50 times a week, which means I've got more time to do the shit that's actually going to build my business. B,
Absolutely.
can the consumer actually get a really world-class explanation that's going to be really informative and empowering to them rather than a shitty explanation in 2 minutes while I'm trying to treat them or in between their sets when they're resting. And then C, just
it's accessible all the time.
The accessibility. They can watch it 10 times because how many times does someone have to learn something before they actually absorb it? Even if I give that client the best explanation of their back pain, like 20% goes out. Now they can go back to a video or an entire module on mobility, stability, macros, sleep, stress, gut health, and all these basic, common topics. I'm not going super medical into it. It's like really easy terminology, but it's like, how does Susan understand this? And then Susan can watch it at 9 p.m. at night when she's put her kids to bed, and it's convenient for her when she can actually learn versus her coming in with back pain, half listening to me, goes home, back to a hectic life, forgets it. So for me, that online like hybridized model works real well because consumer gets better information, convenient. I've only got to do it once, which means I'm not doing it 100 times. And obviously it's a lot more scalable. Like if you can't scale it past 100 people, then you're kind of fucked in terms of what your limitation is. So like one of my mentors said that to me, is like, whenever you build out a program, think worst case, like if something amazing happened tomorrow and 1,000 people signed up, could you handle it? Or would you be fucked?
Exactly right.
Think about it. It's like, not that I want 1,000 people, just if,
you want 1,000 people.
Yeah.
You just want the systems to handle them. Yeah. Hey, Poppy, joining in.
To the point where there's like a trade-off between quality and volume of people. Like you want 1,000 people and 100 people to still get the same experience. But for me, it's like, I still love treating, and what Nathan said too, in terms of you got to be in the game, and I'll never stop coaching and never stop treating. And nor should I, because I've only been in the industry for 7 years. So, but it's a nice adjunct because then when they come to see you, it's like you can do 30 minutes of pure manual therapy or 45 minutes of pure S&C training without having to stop-start for conversations, rather than it half being education, half being mentoring, half being a session. Because now it's like, cool, like that's an awesome question. Like there's a module on that. That's going to
absolutely.
Like, let's focus this next 30 minutes on addressing X, Y, and Z, which is what you came in for. So I think it's just a more efficient way to do it, and like it's the modern 21st century way to move forward. I think, in my opinion, I think the old model is a bit broken in terms of we can't really give them most of ourselves. Like you're only probably giving 10% of Ben Humphries to your client every time they come in. Like 10% is fucking amazing of Ben Humphries. Imagine 100% of Ben Humphries.
All this hair, mate.
A whole lot of mullet.
You're right though. Like that's exactly where I need to head. Like automation systems, like offering more value for doing fucking less work. Right. That's all what we want to do. We want to offer not only, the best face-to-face service if we're going to do that, but we want to make sure we're dominating in every bloody facet of the business. Right. And that's what we're all own our own businesses. We all are, who some would argue the top of our, I don't know, we're peaking. I don't know. I'm getting better at learning more shit all the time. But if hold yourself to such a high expectation, it's best to deliver that on all fronts of the business. And as you said, Dan, it comes down to allocation of resources, having enough money, enough time, enough effort, enough knowledge on how to bloody execute on all that. That's pretty sweet.
And I think for me personally, I love the hands-on treatment. That's what I thrive on. That's what I'm good at.
It's your passion.
But I don't love money. I love making money. right? So for me, it's about bridging those two together, but also being able to put 100% effort in both things. So I think for me, the reason why, and I guess anyone who's looking at doing something like this, is really spend the time and plan it. If you've got a big business that you're already running, as well as wanting to run a side hustle like this that you want to also turn into a big business as well, you kind of want to make sure that you don't drop the ball on either one. So a question that you kind of answered, Dan. So just, we can look at hindsight now. What would be a couple of tips, I guess, that you would recommend for anyone who's looking at starting this, that's got an idea in their head, but just kind of doesn't know how to play it out, is doing a really high functioning business and wants to get into this and wants to maintain? So what would you think would be top, say, 3 tips on how to kind of get this happening?
If you were to do it again, how would you do it differently?
Yeah.
Look, I'd like to say I wouldn't have left it all last minute, but I know my uni record and school record, so that probably wouldn't have happened. Yeah, look, I think
All
the
of
best.
Do it as you fucking need to.
When your back's against the wall. But probably
sometimes.
Not good. I think the most important thing would be know target, because it's like I would say know your target audience, understand like pain points, and understand your solution, and then how to put that, like how to reverse engineer essentially what problem you're trying to solve, and then make that tangible, and then structure that. But then the thing I figured out too is like, well, my idea of like my target market and problem solution in March versus September now is like so much more clear, because now I've had 50 coaches go through the program, and I'm like, oh, well, these are the common problems, and I need to tweak this, and I've changed things 100 times. So I think you'll get clearer, but like having a general ballpark figure of what you're doing is important. But then the caveat to that is probably like, don't be a perfectionist, because if you just keep being a perfectionist, you'll never launch it, and you'll never figure out who your target market is, what you're actually doing. I think it's
That's right.
It's like treating, you don't really know shit until you treat 1,000 people. So I think for anyone who's thinking about it, I'd say just, pull the trigger, once it's 50, 60% developed. And if you're passionate about what you do and you have good knowledge and a good program that can actually help people, you just got to get it sorted. Have some systems.
Absolutely.
You just said the big bit right there at the end, I think, mate. Like, have like one thing that I think we saw in the first round, well, I'm sure you'll be seeing it in the second round here, is having the knowledge. Make sure you actually go into something you got the right for, right? Like the amount of crew, and I saw in my industry in Cairo when we had first round trying to go online when they've only ever done manual therapy. They don't have any kind of extra curriculum in movement and that. And they're suddenly like trying to sell these online movement things. And you're like, yeah, you may have like, it's one of those ethical things, right? You could probably sell it to everybody, but is it actually good information? Like, is it actually worthwhile? So if you're going to do these things, and all of us have like a speciality or an expertise in a certain area, some could be mindset, some can be movement, some could be, I don't know, yoga, whatever it is, you can definitely market that, but just market into a strength, not just because you think the marketplace has an availability to do it, right?
I think that's right. The biggest thing. Like, I wouldn't say I'm the smartest dude. I just say I'm super passionate about what I do, and I back myself. And that's because I know
you're pretty smart, mate. Come on.
Yeah, I guess. But like, I mean, my biggest thing is I know what my wheelhouse is, and I know what my lane is. And like, I can happily give people advice in all these other areas. Like, I've still got a pretty good knowledge as an osteo of all facets, I'd say. Like, I'll easily help people with nutrition and stuff, but I'd never go and be like, oh, nutrition's now part of my course, or like, this is now part of my course. My course is purely anatomy, biomechanics, program design, strength and conditioning. Yes, as an osteo, I've got other pieces, but like literally, if you can ask Raf, they'll ask me questions on the Zoom call, and I'm like, sorry, mate, like not my wheelhouse. Here's my rough answer. Go study, or I'll get back to you, or go look at Luke Tulloch's stuff because he's a wizard of physiology, or go speak to this chick. Like, I think staying in your lane and just doing that from an ethical point of view, B, respect of the industry point of view, but most importantly, if you actually want to make money and make it successful, people can smell bullshit from a mile away. So
get a good product. 100%.
Yeah, have a good product, because once you know the product works and you back yourself, like the sales take care of itself. Like I wouldn't say I'm good at sales. I just got onto a phone and had confidence and assurance that I could solve a problem and provide value, and that comes across. Versus if you're trying to sell something you're not sure about because you're not good at it. Like this is kind of program, and I hope it kind of works. And oh, sorry, it's expensive.
Can't be fucking stumbling.
I know it's expensive, but to be fair to you, Frank, you're kind of fucked without it. So like, here's what's going to happen.
This is cheap for what it can do for you, bro. What about who have you had come through? I'm interested. What kind of I know you said allied health professionals, and also this is what I've had questions on. The one course I did run is like people are like, oh, does that contribute to like CPD points or anything like that? Have you had that shit come up?
No, not really too much.
I think I asked you that question.
Yeah.
Probably.
Just that yeah, no, I've had a few people ask me, but like it hasn't been an issue in terms of someone not signing up. I think it depends on the faculty as well. Like osteo is pretty flexible because we don't have to, like our kind of CPD stuff isn't regulated as much. It's pretty much you just have to have certain hours of stuff compared to physios, EPs, PTs have to have, you know, SR, APA and Fitness Australia. So it's not CPD qualified, but I haven't had any issues. In terms of the target market, or like the first time around, it was pretty much probably 75% PTs and coaches and 25% allied health. This time around is probably almost 50-50. So it's diversified a bit, which has been cool.
Who do you get? I'm interested. Are you picking up like everyone? Physios, osteos? Like what professions are you picking up?
Probably like PT, S&C coach would be number one. Number two would be osteo. Number three would be physio. And then physio and myo. I haven't had any chiros. That's the only one I haven't had. Chiros
Bloody
don't
chiros,
like,
mate.
besides rehab.
I think they've got it down pat, mate.
No, but that's been cool. I think five or
chiros.
6 different professions, 3 or 4 different, I think 4 countries now, which is cool as well. So that just shows you how
Hey.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome, bro.
Cool until you figure out time zones and people want Zoom calls that suit them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be very true.
Good on you.
All right, so to sum it all up, I think you said some really good points. Now, obviously, delivering on what you've mentioned, Teachable, which I went and Googled while we're doing this, just to check it out, because I'm looking to do some software and stuff on how to deliver it properly. As you said, any other apps and stuff that you're using that would help?
No,
other than Google
like,
Doc?
like
Using Zoom or what are you delivering on video call?
Yeah, so the quick, I'll keep it short because the quick answer is essentially Teachable has all the content uploaded. I've got Google Drive, which has like the exercise library assessments component. So they're all uploaded and they just get like a shareable link sort of thing, which I'm working on something different just to keep that a bit more secure. Other than that, it's a Facebook group for all communication. And then I just jump on a Zoom call, which is 2 1-hour sessions a week where everyone jumps on and it's like just a Q&A, open discussion, tutorial, case study. So once it's built out, it's pretty
good.
Pretty simple because I could easily have 100 coaches on there compared to 30. It just means I do more Zoom calls to keep it as 20 per second so that people have an opportunity to ask questions. In saying that, there's other courses out there that have a Zoom call and they have 100 coaches on at once. So like you could easily do that if you wanted to, but it's easily scalable once you have the systems. But I'd say Teachable, Zoom, and then some sort of private group, whether you use Facebook, or there's another thing called Mighty Networks, which I used initially, which is like just an off Facebook version of like a Facebook group. You don't really need anything fancy. That's an easy way to start, and it's costing you less than $100 a month, essentially.
Awesome. Well done,
Very
bro.
good,
Well
bro.
done. Done well.
I think just some feedback. Raf said what he loves about your courses. He loves the 2-hour, 1-hour, like frequently asked questions, sort of Q&A type sessions that you run. So yeah, obviously that's good. Having people have like live access to you instead of fire questions right on the spot, and that way it's a lot more specific to the person. That's just a bit of feedback he told me, which we really loved.
That's been, probably the common feedback, which has been good. I think there's a big difference too in a lot of courses out there, because I've had a lot of people say like, oh, that's something, that was one of the big factors that got them over the line, or a big thing that's come up in testimonials is like, there's a lot of online courses out there, but it's kind of like buy it and then fuck off and it's good luck and there's no intimacy. I think there's so much information out there, and it's not that I'm creating new information, reinventing the wheel. I think how you teach information dictates if the information gets absorbed properly. So teaching is a big part of it, but also just having that ability to actually interpret information and have those conversations. Because if it's just watch the videos and go away compared to watch the videos, cool, let's ask about 5 clients I'm not sure about, and then have case studies and other people have the same questions. I think if anything, that if we looked at like a monetary value of the course versus the actual content, like if I sold the content only, I'd probably sell it for sub 50% just because it's content, versus if I'm selling my time now and my expertise and my, all that kind of stuff. I think there's the values there. So I think for anyone building out courses too, don't underestimate the intimacy side of having one-on-one or access. Just makes it more personable as well. Like half the time people sign up, they want to sign up because of the person. Like I had so many people sign up, they're like, oh, I'm an osteo, I've just graduated. Like I want to know how you got to where you got to, or how you're doing what you're doing. So if you take the person out of it, then all of a sudden Same with like Jordan and Prescript. Like people sign up to Prescript because they want to talk to Jordan. They don't just want to watch his lectures. They want to listen to Jordan speak. Take Jordan out of it, and all of a sudden it's not,
Exactly right.
It's not no $1,000 course. It's like,
Well done. That was good, bro.
Yeah, awesome work, man.
Very good. A lot of
I think
value.
there's some huge value in there for anyone who's looking to do it. And I think when it comes back to it and we look at it, so you said, stay in your lane, know your thing, target the right people, and deliver on the value, and you're only going to do well. So another good one. I hope everyone got some amazing things. As always, if you did, grab a screenshot, throw it up on the gram, give us a share. We always appreciate it. And give us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, gents, you have an amazing one, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.